think. Feel. It is like a finger pointing to the moon. Don't concentrate on the finger. Falling is all that heavenly glow. Do you understand?
Greetings, everyone. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Hope you guys having a nice day today, wherever you are in the world. I am enjoying my day. I feel great today. Now, for this video, basically, I'm going to be making an introduction about myself. Just talk a bit about, my background, FLR, leveling up, etc. So, you guys are going to be seeing me look down because I have some questions here on my phone. So I'm going to go through these questions in order. So let's get the party started. So the first one here says, who are you and what's FLR? So as many of you guys know, my name is Moses McCormick. I'm 31 years old. I'm originally from Akron, Ohio. I've been living in Columbus, Ohio for, a bit over 10 years now. Founder of FLR, which stands for Foreign Language Road Running Techniques. I've been at language learning for well over 10 years, since the age of 18. And up to this point, the journey continues. Now, about FLR, what is FLR? As I mentioned before, FLR stands for Foreign Language Road Running Techniques. Basically, it's a technique that I've come up with through diligent study of multiple languages over the years. Okay, during those years, I've been trying to come up with many different efficient ways of learning certain things. For example, I remember at the beginning stages, I used to just go through these traditional textbooks, such as Teach Yourself or anything similar, and I try to look for relevant things, keywords, just things that I can use right away. I've even used phrase books. Okay, phrase books are easy to use. As you know, you can find things quickly. Where are you from? Where do you live? What's your job, etc. These things are very important to me when I begin a language. And over the years, I found myself flipping back and forth through all these books and taking notes on all this relevant stuff. And that's, I wouldn't say it got tiring, but it was a lot of work. Going through these different chapters, looking for these key terms and important phrases and whatnot. So I began to develop this technique, realizing that, okay, well, this is what I need to learn first. I need to learn all the questions and answers. I need to learn how to understand the questions. I need to learn how to answer the questions. Ask the questions, learn how to ask the questions, learn how to understand the questions. On top of that, the keywords that will help me make smooth transitions, help me to build sentences to strengthen my conversation. So this is how FLR was created, through just years of study, years of studying multiple languages and testing things out, seeing what works. Does it work like this? Does it work like that? And and I'm still learning. So that is FLR for you. Now, FLR, some things I should mention is it doesn't mean, because we know road running, if you watch cartoons when you're younger, the Road Runner, I can't even remember the name of that cartoon, but the Road Runner, he's fast. So, I mean, it's not about, it's a speed thing. Like you need to just learn as quick as possible. It's a race. That's not what it's about. Basically, you're learning things rapidly, because things you learn, you wouldn't learn if you go through a traditional course. Certain grammatical points you wouldn't learn if you go through a traditional course until later on. Conditional, all those beginners don't really learn that stuff. But for me, when I start learning a language, I have to learn that stuff because it's relevant and it's very effective when it comes to conversation. So the road running is basically learning things rapidly that you wouldn't normally learn in a formal setting, in a formal course. Okay. So yeah, that's what that is. So let's move on. So why is self-recording important? As you guys know, I make a lot of videos on YouTube of me practicing speaking a particular language, reading practice videos, etc. And I started doing this back in 2008. Of course, I've evolved over time. I've changed a lot of my techniques, but the concept is still the same. But basically, it's for me. I feel, at least for me, I feel that it's important to make these recordings because it tracks progress. Like many others, I'm sure there are many others out there similar to me in this respect. But I need to see progress. I need to see myself moving. And if I don't see myself moving in the language or anything, in that matter, I will lose motivation and I'll feel like, I'll feel that it's pointless of me to continue if I don't see this progress. So when I make these recordings, I'm able to go back and watch them and compare them to the current videos I made. I mean, just actually recently, I went back to, I can't remember what video it was. I went back to an older video I made and compared it to a video that I recently made, and I couldn't even finish the video. Like I watched it like halfway through and I just shut it off because it felt like, man, this was terrible. Like I was terrible back then. And then compared to the recent video I made, it sounds completely different. So when I see that, I know that I'm making some progress. So that's why it is essential for me to do this. Now, you don't necessarily have to do this on YouTube. You can do this, by using just a regular recorder and just finding a native speaker to, evaluate and give you feedback. So you don't necessarily have to use YouTube for that. So that is why recording is essential for me. What is your process when you first start learning a language? Okay. So yeah, again, a lot of my techniques have changed, but the concept is still there and I'm still learning. But basically, when I first started a language, let's say, for example, I want to learn Croatian today, or I have a plan to learn Croatian next. The first thing I do is scout. We all know what a scout is. For example, scouts going to basketball games looking for great players to recruit. That's basically what I do, but it's a bit different. I scout these natives. I go to different forums. I go to chat rooms. I search on the internet, looking for restaurants or whatever. This is what I do before I start the language because I need to be sure that when I get into this language heavily, I'm going to be able to output it. And output is one of my main, that's one of my main things in language learning is output. That's one thing that I really, really take serious. So I need to find the people to make sure I can practice with them. If I'm successful, if I can find adequate places to practice the language, and I'll move on to the next step, which is finding adequate resources. We all know that having the adequate resources is a very important factor when it comes to language learning. So I like to look for formal courses such as Teach Yourself, Colloquial, any type of course basically that has dialogues. Why? Because I get to listen to them and read out loud, become familiar with the pronunciation accent, before I move on to the next step. Now, this is actually something that I incorporated recently. This is a new technique of mine. I spend the first 2 to 3 months doing the listening and the reading out loud to become accustomed to the pronunciation and the accent. Then I'll start getting out in the battlefield and practicing all that, all the material I've learned with the native speaker. My pronunciation won't be perfect, accent won't be perfect, but it will be good. It will be pretty good for the native speaker to understand what I'm trying to convey or express. So I do that, and then after those 2-3 months, get out, go speak with the native speakers, and then just continue it. Just because those 2 or 3 months are up doesn't mean that I stop doing listening and all that reading stuff. I will continue that, but I'll be doing at the same time. I'll be doing the active part of it. So let's see. Okay. Oh, and then one more thing I should mention to add on to that is then I start making spoken practice videos, put those up. The videos, basically, before I make the videos, I think about what I want to talk about. Basically, it could be a scripted video. It doesn't really matter. But for me to produce what I've been learning, I make those videos, put them up on YouTube, get feedback from native speakers, and bam, That's we have it. The next thing, let's see. What is leveling up, and what is your strategy for doing so? So, leveling up is a term that was coined many years ago, and as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, it was it let me see, it was coined by some video game developers. Maybe they got it from somewhere else, but this is where I learned it from, particularly from those RPG games, Final Fantasy, Chrono Cross, Chrono Trigger. Basically, the concept is this. Okay, let's talk about okay, look. Basically, level up. You got on Final Fantasy, for example, you have a stat box. They show you the level you're on. They show you they show you your HP, your health, your MP, your magic. What else? Yeah, experience points. Is that right? Yeah, and they show you your experience points. So when you start off as a beginner, and I'm going to jump over to Chrono Cross because I don't think they have this on Final Fantasy. You start off with a wooden sword, and a wooden sword is not that strong. Okay, you have to work your way. You have to fight the enemies and build up your points and stats to become stronger and earn more money to purchase stronger weapons. So the more enemies you fight, the more points the more money you gain, and then the stronger your character becomes. So this can be applied to anything in life, actually. And what I've done was taken this concept and applied it to language learning. Why? Because it's applicable and it's fun. I like to use certain terms, incorporate those with my language learning to make the process fun. And as everyone says, you always have to find things to make the process fun. Okay. So, that's basically the concept of leveling up. My strategy for leveling up is similar to what I explained before. I scout. Okay, basically I scout, I find the natives, and then I engage in battle. I go to a chat room, I go look at the members, see where they're from. Then I say, okay, yeah, if there are a lot of Georgians, they're like, okay, this is where I can get some Georgian in. Then if I want to practice outside of my house, I search on the internet for restaurants, cafes, or whatever. And I call them up, make sure they're open, because there were times when I called certain places, they were closed, but they were still listed in the phone book. So that's how I normally go about leveling up. And also, I think I mentioned this before too. When I'm out shopping or wherever, it's random. Like, I don't even try to level up. It just, the level up opportunities come to me. So, yep, that's how that plays out. Okay, let's see what's next. What is your sniper rifle? My sniper rifle. Basically, my sniper rifle is my Luxi cam. Okay, we all know what a sniper rifle is. The sniper rifle is referring to the camera I use when I level up. So this is my sniper rifle case. I'll take it out for you. My silencer, sniper rifle, my silencer, if you will. Let's see. So this is it. It comes with an earpiece. And you just attach it to your ear. Like that. And I just go up into the spot. And I level up. Now, if you scrutinize it a bit, it looks like a camera. It really does. But at the same time, it's a Bluetooth. So when I go into places, I'm always talking like I'm on a phone. So they look at me and say, okay, this guy's on the phone. And then, I got stares. People look at it and they say, oh, it looks interesting. I mean, I even had a guy one time ask me if it was a camera. And I was like, yeah, it's my Bluetooth, my phone. I can't blow my cover, so I had to tell him something. But anyway, that's what I use. And I like to use the sniper rifle. If you think about it, like, what does a sniper do? A sniper hides somewhere, and they're about to take somebody out, someone who has no idea they're about to be taken out by a sniper. And it's a quiet scenario, and it's the same thing with this Luxi cam. When I go in the spot with this on my ear, I'm leveling up recording without them. They don't even know. Without them even knowing, I'm recording. So that's my sniper rifle, and that's what I've been using. Now, I just started it's actually new. Before I used to use my iPhone, but it wasn't really good because people knew I was recording, and they say, oh, I don't want to be recorded, blah blah blah, and and I go into stores and they say, oh, you can't use cameras in here, so it kind of messes the whole thing up. So I had to transfer over. I had to make that special transition to the Luxie Cam. So this is the last one, I believe. Yep. What self-recording goals do you set for yourself, and what do you suggest others do? Well, I think I explained this before. As far as the level up videos, I used to make them every week. I used to get out there and practice every week, and it's quite effective. Getting out there every week, interacting with native speakers, even if it's only just for an hour. I was doing it for Spanish, and I noticed that when I was doing that every week, my Spanish started to get better, and my comprehension started to get better just by interacting with these native speakers, just gaining those experience points. So, I will advise people. Like, I know people are busy. If if you're working, you're going to school, and you don't really have time to do this thing like every week, I don't know, or every day, at least take an hour. I'm pretty sure you can find an hour in your time during that week or hour or weekend to find a place to practice your languages. I think it's important to stay in contact with a native at least once a week, so you can practice the language. As you know, languages are practical. You have to use them as much as you can in order to retain them. So I would advise to at least meet up with someone once a week, or maybe twice. I recommend twice. The first time, meet with someone online in the chat room or a forum, get comfortable with them in the language. And then the second time, find some random place like a cafe, or go to a restaurant, or go to a mall, or university, etc. If you got the drive and the time, I would do it every day. The more time you put into it, the more you do it, the faster the results are going to come. That's just how it is. So that's my advice when it comes to setting these goals for self-recording. Okay. Yeah. So I think that's it. I think I covered everything. Let's see what self-recording goals say. Yeah. So to add more onto this self-recording goals. I used to do this. I used to make the videos every week, but now I'm only doing it twice a month. So I'm making a level up video at the beginning of the month and one at the end of the month. As far as my recordings are concerned, like the reading practice videos, I make those after I feel comfortable with the reading, the particular dialogue that I'm listening to. Once I feel comfortable, it sounds like Michael Jackson, sounds like Tupac, or whatever, it sounds like music. Then I'm ready to get that video put up and get it critiqued by a native speaker to see what I missed. So I normally make those after I reach at least I shoot between 500 and 1,000 times to listen to the dialogue, depending on how long it takes me to pick up on the rhythm. Sometimes I'll only listen to it like for 150 times, 200 times, and I'll get that rhythm so I can put the video right away. So that's how I normally make those videos. That's my goal. Once I get that rhythm down, I make the video. So yeah, that is it. If you guys have any further questions, let me know. Otherwise, thanks for viewing, and hope you guys have a great day, and look forward to any responses.